Monday, August 6, 1945. 8:15 a.m. A quiet, sunny summer morning in Hiroshima, Japan. People were on their way to work, just like any other day. Unlike many Japanese cities devastated by the air raids of World War II, Hiroshima had remained almost untouched, creating a false sense of safety, as if this city were somehow protected from the destruction of war. In Europe, the fighting had ended. Nazi Germany had surrendered. But Japan continued to resist, facing heavy daily bombings. Many of them firebombs that would be considered illegal today. Even so, the people of Hiroshima, in that calm morning light, had no idea that history had saved its darkest moment for them. Just 1 minute later, at 8:16 a.m., something happened that no human being had ever witnessed before. A flash of light appeared in the sky, so bright that it felt as if a second sun had ignited above the city. This was the detonation of the first atomic bomb ever used in human history. The United States deliberately detonated it about 600 meters above the ground to maximize its destructive power over the city. In that instant, tens of thousands of people lost their lives. Those who survived long enough to recall what they saw later described it like this. The ground kept shaking. We heard windows shattering everywhere. The air suddenly became so hot that breathing felt impossible. Shards of glass flew with terrifying speed, and many people died immediately from the impact. A thick cloud of dust filled the air. Survivors say the only way to breathe was to pull your clothes over your mouth. Anyone standing upright would suffocate, because breathable air existed only about 20 centimeters above the ground. People lay on the burning earth, the ground so hot it scorched their skin, but still less painful than suffocation. Those about 2 kilometers from the blast were in far better condition. The shock wave shattered windows there as well, but people farther from the glass survived. Residents of that area said, "First we heard a deafening sound. Seconds later, we saw a massive mushroom of fire and smoke rising into the sky. 90% of Hiroshima's wooden buildings were reduced to ash. Only structures with extremely solid engineering remained standing, and those few buildings saved the lives of the rare survivors closest to the explosion. Many of those structures still stand today as historical monuments. Witnesses say that near the blast center, no bodies could be found, only skeletons. The heat was so extreme that human tissue was instantly vaporized. No one understood it was an atomic explosion. No one knew what radiation was. And that ignorance made the tragedy far worse. With burned bodies and failing breath, people ran toward rivers and ponds, hoping to cool themselves and breathe more easily. But soon, a black rain began to fall. Thick drops contaminated with ash and radioactive material. Wherever a droplet landed, it left a dark stain. These raindrops mixed into rivers and water pools, poisoning them. Yet people, dying from heat and thirst, drank the contaminated water. Many of them died within days or weeks. As time passed, the survivors closest to the blast began to die one by one. Only a small fraction lived long enough to tell their stories. Estimates suggest that around 140,000 people died in the blast and the immediate aftermath. The United States sent a message: "You have seen the bomb. Surrender, and the war will end." But Japan's leaders did not believe such a weapon existed. Some officials thought the explosion was a natural phenomenon, or act of heaven. The US warned again, "If you do not surrender, we will strike again." And some in the Japanese government answered, "Go ahead." 3 days later, on August 9, 1945, the second atomic bomb was dropped on Nagasaki. It was a smaller city, but the destruction was still immense. About 70,000 people were killed. Only then did Japan realize that these were not threats. They were real weapons. The US had even prepared a third bomb, and if Japan still refused, it likely would have been used. Finally, Japan surrendered, and World War II came to an end, with Germany, Italy, and Japan defeated. On the other side of the world, China was among the Allied powers, fighting Japan in East Asia. What remained of Hiroshima and Nagasaki was not just two destroyed cities, but the beginning of a new era in human history. An era of weapons capable of erasing an entire nation in seconds.